Right now, you still have time to change your life. That won't always be true. If you keep postponing, keep hesitating, and keep telling yourself soon, you will eventually hit a point where it really is too late. The fatal flaw of soon, commanding your desire. If you are postponing, you are simply allowing the fear of poverty and indifference to dictate your future. Riches do not respond to wishes. The only thing standing between you and achievement is the power of your current desire. We must transform vague hope into a burning obsession immediately. I have traveled this nation, studying the failures as closely as the fortunes, and I can tell you that the fatal flaw in 98% of those who fail is the constant, indefinite postponement of action. They have a hope, a wish, a mild interest in success, but they mistake that flickering candlelight for a burning desire. Success does not operate on a convenient schedule. It demands the surrender of your will, one powerful, all-consuming aim. This intensity of purpose is what gives the universe notice that you are serious. A mere academic interest in wealth will yield academic results. Actual wealth requires fire. If your desire is so weak that it allows you to hit the snooze button, to choose distraction over discipline, to delay the most important work of your life, then you have not yet defined a goal. You have merely indulged in a wish. Wishful thinking will lead you to the poorhouse. The riches of this world, both material and spiritual, respond only to the man who has defined his definite chief aim and infused it with the power of emotion. The definite chief aim acts as a mental magnet, drawing necessary resources and connections toward you. It is the rudder and the engine of your mind working in perfect concert. The truth is, many of you hesitate because you do not know precisely what you want, or you lack the faith that you can achieve it. This ambiguity is what allows the past your wasted time, your negative environment, to continue dictating your present. A man cannot steer a ship without a destination, and the currents of life will happily carry the aimless man into the harbor of permanent failure. The sea of life offers no reward to the drifter. The vast majority of men live and die without ever crystallizing their true goals, which is why they serve those who have. We need to install the habit of decisive action right now. This is not about feeling ready. It is about obeying the law of creation. Every structure you see, every fortune ever built, began as an intangible thought, impulse. But that impulse was translated into reality only when it was defined, written, and mixed with action. The act of writing and defining solidifies the thought, preparing it for the subconscious mind. Thought impulses, when indefinite, are powerless. Definiteness is the first step toward materialization. Consider the case of Edwin C. Barnes, a man who, in the popular view, began late and possessed nothing useful. He had no money, no connections, and no formal education that would qualify him for the grand vision he held. But Barnes possessed one thing that made all the difference: a white-hot, burning desire to become a business partner of the great Thomas Edison, not just to work for him, but to work with him. Barnes did not wish for this partnership. He decided on it. He traveled on freight trains to reach Edison's laboratory, appearing before the inventor looking like a tramp. Edison noted that Barnes looked like any other tramp, but there was a fire in his eyes that spoke of a definite purpose. Barnes demanded an opportunity. Edison did not give it to him easily. He gave Barnes the most menial, distasteful work he could find. Barnes worked for years, enduring mockery and temporary defeat. He waited not for the right moment, but for the right opportunity. And all the while, he never changed his definite aim. He knew exactly what he wanted. He used the job as a placeholder for his ambition, not a destination. This single focus inoculated him against the negative suggestions and failures that destroyed others. When Edison invented a new office machine, a dictating machine called the Ediphone, it was difficult to sell. No one in the Edison organization believed in it. Barnes saw his opportunity. He volunteered to sell it, and he succeeded where others failed because his entire existence was tied to the vision of partnership. He did not quit his distasteful job until he had translated his desire into its physical equivalent, a contract to market the machine nationally, and a fortune that followed. Barnes's story is your blueprint. He was delayed by poverty and lack of formal preparation, but his definite purpose and persistence conquered both. You cannot afford to delay the creation of your own blueprint. You must immediately convert the regret of your wasted time into the singular, focused power of definite chief aim. The process is a formula, not a suggestion. It is a command to your subconscious mind, the engine that runs your destiny. Your immediate obedience to this formula is the non-negotiable price of your future freedom. Action steps, the 6 commands to end delay. These 6 steps, which I have taught to every successful person I have studied, are the systematic method for transmuting the intangible thought of desire into its material equivalent. They are the first steps the late starter must take to reclaim his lost time. First command, fix the exact target. Write a clear, concise statement specifying the exact results you must achieve to avoid being too late and to fund the life you demand. You must name the sum of money you intend to accumulate, or the exact station in life you intend to reach. Crucially, this must be backed by a commitment to the service, skill, or commodity you intend to give in return. Riches are not given. They are earned through equivalent service. This commitment establishes a fair exchange, which is a law of nature. Be more precise in defining your goal than you are in balancing your checkbook. Second command, establish a firm deadline. Set a definite date for the acquisition of your desired outcome. This deadline creates the urgency that prevents indefinite postponement and anchors your definite aim to the world of reality. A goal without a deadline is merely a fantasy. The date provides the necessary pressure for action. This deadline must be serious enough to make failure unthinkable. Third command, initiate action immediately. Create an initial concrete plan for achieving your desire and begin at once, whether you feel ready or not. The time will never be just right. Action, however imperfect, generates momentum and defeats the paralyzing voice of delay. Immediate action is the true measure of your sincerity. An average plan executed now is infinitely superior to a perfect plan delayed indefinitely. Fourth command, write the command, the DCA statement. Write out a clear statement covering the exact result, the firm deadline, the reciprocal service you intend to give, and the initial plan. Reducing the desire to write is the first and most critical step in converting the thought impulse into its physical counterpart. This is your oath. It is your binding contract with yourself. Without the written word, your mind will treat your aim as a passing suggestion. Fifth command, the twice daily ritual of faith. Read your written statement aloud twice daily, once before retiring at night and again immediately upon arising in the morning. This repetition is a systematic application of autosuggestion, feeding the definite aim directly into the seat of all power, your subconscious mind. This ritual builds a wealth consciousness. This is the secret communication channel between your conscious aim and your subconscious power. Sixth command, emotionalize the possession. As you read your statement, you must see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the object of your desire. The subconscious mind acts only upon thought impulses that are mixed with emotion. Faith is the strongest and most productive emotion you can use to charge your definite aim with irresistible power. This emotionalization is the living fire that transmutes thought into gold. The intensity of the emotion is the speed at which your desire is fulfilled. You have the power to influence your own subconscious mind, but only through a definite, structured command. Your first task, therefore, is not to work hard, but to think with definiteness. The time you wasted yesterday is gone forever, but the energy you wasted on indecision can be harnessed now. Your written statement is the map, the key, and the fuel. Do not proceed until you have obeyed this command. The urgency of execution, mastering procrastination. The man who delays the writing of his plan or the execution of his definite aim is a man afflicted by a lack of decisiveness. Postponing a definite decision crystallizes into doubt, and the two blend to become fear. Since lack of decision is a leading cause of failure, you must commit to reaching decisions promptly and turning your written desire into organized planning. If you look back at your regrets, they are not moments of decisive failure, they are moments of decisive hesitation. The man who wavers in his decisions shows he is not sure of himself and cannot lead successfully. Indecision and procrastination are twin brothers. The time you feel you have lost was not stolen by circumstance. It was surrendered by a lack of prompt and fixed decision. Indecision is silence in the face of opportunity. The world judges you not on your intention, but on the firmness of your resolve. There is a profound law that the masters of fortune understand. The world will step aside for the man who knows where he is going, but the world will consume the man who stands still, pondering. Your hesitation ensures the perpetuation of your current toxic circumstances. To avoid the trap of delay, you must leverage your imagination, the workshop of the mind, to construct sound, workable plans, and you must act upon them with a decision that cannot be shaken. Imagination is not daydreaming. It is the faculty that builds the blueprint of reality. I recall a powerful example of Dr. Frank W. Gonzalez, who was entrusted with raising $1 million to found a college. He spent 2 years in earnest prayer and wishful thinking without taking definite, decisive action. The result was zero. He believed that the idea alone was sufficient. Finally, realizing the uselessness of mere desire, he reached a prompt and definite decision. I will get that money within a week. He called a meeting of the trustees, and in a powerful address, he laid out the definite plan for the college, infusing his words with a conviction born of a fixed decision. An elderly gentleman in the audience, deeply moved by the definite nature of the demand and the certainty of the speaker, stood and offered to give the entire $1 million. The necessary funds were secured 36 hours after Dr. Frank W. Gonzalez reached his definite decision. The money did not respond to his vague wish for 2 years. It responded to his prompt, definite, and unshakable decision. Vague thinking is useless until decision and a concrete plan are fixed. The decisive mind attracts the solution. The difference between 2 years of failure and 36 hours of success was simply the fixed nature of his decision. Decision is not about being correct. It is about being fixed. It is the absolute commitment that separates the master from the servant. The late starter, the man who feels behind, cannot afford the luxury of indecision. You must move with the speed of a charging army, and your decision is the order to advance. Wavering is a form of self-sabotage that the man of achievement cannot permit. Action steps, building the workable blueprint. Your definite aim must be converted into organized planning by following these commands. First command, decide promptly, change slowly. Make it a habit to reach decisions promptly, and once made, hold them firmly. People who fail change their decisions quickly and often, responding to every whisper of doubt or fear. Great leaders make decisions slowly, if at all, when they have finally committed to a course of action. Speed in decision is a hallmark of success. The swiftness of your decision is the first test of your courage. Train yourself to make routine decisions in seconds, saving your deliberation for major moves. Second command, start where you stand. Do not wait for conditions to be perfect. Start immediately with whatever you have at hand, as delay is fatal to success. The perfect plan only reveals itself in the process of action. The late starter must use this principle to generate forward momentum instantly. Do not wait for capital. Wait for knowledge or wait for approval. Use what you possess and act. The greatest tragedies are born of perfect plans that were never executed. Action creates the clarity that indecision seeks but never finds. Third command, reduce plans to writing. The transformation of desire into reality calls for a concrete plan, and plans must be reduced to writing to give them concrete form. Your plan is the specific pathway from your present reality to your definite aim. It must be clear, step by step, and organized. A written plan eliminates the possibility of vague effort. A written plan allows your mastermind and your subconscious to work on a tangible command. Fourth command, accept temporary defeat. If a plan fails, do not accept it as permanent failure. Defeat should signal that the plan was unsound, not that the goal was impossible. Immediately use your imagination to create and organize a new, revised plan. The true test of a leader is not how he manages success, but how he handles temporary defeat. Every defeat carries with it the seed of an equivalent success. Failure is feedback. Treat it as an instruction manual for your next attempt. Fifth command, strategic silence. When putting your plans into practice, keep your own counsel except with your mastermind. Talking too freely about your plans allows envious or fearful people, often those in your old, toxic environment, to inject doubt, sabotage you, or beat you to the goal. Work in silence, and let success be your noise. Protect your definite aim from negative suggestions. The silent worker is rarely derailed by the opinions of those standing still. Sixth command, apply the quality, quantity, and spirit QQS model to planning. Ensure your planning reflects the effort you intend to give in return. You must commit to delivering the maximum quality and quantity of service delivered in a proper spirit of cooperation. This is the only lasting foundation for any great fortune. Your plan must be built on the principle of equivalent value given, ensuring integrity in all transactions. This principle guarantees longevity, ensuring your wealth is built on a rock, not shifting sand. Remember this, the only thing that you truly own is your mind, and your control over it is measured by the speed and firmness of your decisions. You cannot command wealth until you have first commanded yourself. This means fixing your aim and acting upon it now. The engine of achievement, unleashing persistence. If you've wasted years, you understand the agony of regret. That pain must now be channeled into the sustained effort necessary for all great achievement, persistence. The moment you feel like quitting is the moment you must remember that defeat is only temporary. Lack of persistence is a weakness common to the majority of men. It is the chief reason they fail. They are masters of the opening sprint, but quit before the finish line comes into sight. This weakness is overcome only by the intensity of one's desire. If you find yourself weak in persistence, it is because you have not yet acquired the money consciousness required for success, or your definite chief aim is not yet a burning desire. The desire for money, when vague, dissolves at the first sign of difficulty. Persistence is desire applied to action through sustained willpower. The world, and especially the late starter, must understand that the desire for money is not enough. You must mix that desire with willpower and mold it into the unbreakable habit of persistence. Willpower is the conscious discipline that sustains the fire of desire when external motivation fails. I ask you now to examine the lives of the wealthy who built their fortunes from nothing. You will find that every single one of them was a master of persistence. They did not succeed on the first or the 10th or often the 1,000th try. They simply refused to accept temporary defeat. They understood that success is rarely a single strike. It is a long siege. Consider the persistence of Thomas A. Edison. The world remembers him as a genius, but I knew him as a man of relentless, organized effort. Before he perfected the incandescent light bulb, he met with temporary defeat 10,000 times. Think of that number, 10,000. When questioned about his failures, he famously replied that he had not failed. He had simply found 10,000 ways that would not work. Edison did not believe in failure. He believed only in temporary defeat, which he used as a signal that the plan was unsound and needed to be revised. Practical dreamers do not quit. They use their willpower to channel their energy into one definite line of action until they succeed. This channeling of energy, often fueled by suppressed urges, is a key to their success. Edison's persistence was not blind repetition. It was intelligent, systematic experimentation. This is the principle that separates the man who catches up from the man who regrets. The man who is behind on time cannot afford to be behind on effort. If you are weak in persistence, you will fall back into your toxic environment and the old habits that led to delay. Persistence must be applied faithfully and persistently until habit gives it permanent form. Your persistence is the only defense against the universal tendency toward mental and physical inertia. I have found that the ability to persist is directly tied to a man's mental immunity against the fear of criticism. When you feel like quitting, it is often the fear of what others will say about your initial failure that causes you to retreat. You must build a closed mind tightly against all negative influences and criticism, recognizing that the critic is invariably a person of limited achievement. The man of persistence knows that the only criticism that matters is the one he gives himself, and that is only to revise the plan. The moment you fear the crowd more than you desire the goal, you are lost. The reward of your persistence far outweighs the temporary pain of the critic's judgment. If you have found this message resonating with the fire of your own ambition, I invite you to join the growing company of men and women who refuse to serve mediocrity. I ask you to subscribe to this channel now. Join this mastermind of thought, and let us command your future together. We have much work left to do. Action steps: forging the habit of persistence. You must make the systematic application of persistence a daily conscious ritual until it becomes an involuntary habit of the subconscious mind. First command: the 4 pillars of persistence. Systematically ensure your effort is built on the 4 essential elements, which are the only foundation for sustained success. A definite purpose backed by burning desire. A definite plan in continuous action. A mind closed tightly against all negative influences, doubt, and fear. A friendly alliance that will encourage you to follow through with your plan. Your second command: embrace the distasteful task. Form the habit of each day doing the most distasteful tasks first. This develops the internal discipline, self-control, and willpower necessary to carry out all major efforts regardless of the emotional state of the moment. If you can command yourself to complete the work you dread, you can command yourself to achieve the goal you desire. This builds confidence in your own authority. By conquering the small, distasteful task, you fortify your will for the monumental challenges. Third command: reverse the quitter's motto. Write the sentence: a quitter never wins, and a winner never quits, and read it daily. You must recognize that success is often just one more effort beyond the point where the weak man would have stopped. I have studied great figures like W.C. Fields, Marie Dressler, and Eddie Cantor, who staged tremendous comebacks late in life, proving that persistence knows no age. They simply refused to let the clock decide their destiny. The past does not dictate the present when persistence is applied. Your comeback story is written at the point where most men give up. Fourth command: use willpower as a magnet. Exercise your willpower to direct your efforts and thoughts along your desired line until the habit takes hold and directs you voluntarily. Willpower is simply the sustained concentration of thought on a single purpose. Use this concentrated force daily to push past the inertia of habit and the temptation of distraction. This conscious effort eventually becomes automatic power. It is the discipline that converts mere intention into the power of achievement. You must accept that the first great battle you will fight is against your own inertia. Your past patterns of delay and wavering decision will vanquish you fiercely. But with persistence, they can be broken and replaced by the habit of relentless, successful effort. Your time may be shortened, but your intensity must be maximized. The mental cleanse, autosuggestion and environment, the fear of being too late, the subtle thought that whispers, "It is too difficult," or "I am not worthy," originates in a mind filled with destructive thoughts. To change your life, you must voluntarily control your subconscious mind. If you keep allowing negative influences and doubt to enter, you are actively choosing failure. Man is the master of his own earthly destiny because he has the power to influence his own subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the chemical laboratory where thought impulses mixed with emotion are prepared for translation into reality. It does not distinguish between constructive and destructive thought. It merely executes the commands it is given, especially those commands charged with emotion. It is a tireless servant, but you must instruct it properly. It is a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds. It cares not whether you plant flowers or weeds. If you want to change your life before, it is truly too late. You must stop feeding your mind negative influences and start building success consciousness. You see, the reason the late starter struggles is that he spent years listening to the wrong voices. The negative self-talk, the toxic associates, the crippling fear, and the environmental poison of low expectation. These were all thought impulses that entered the mind and were accepted by the subconscious. Now, that mind is executing the command for failure, delay, and mediocrity. The only way out is to overwrite the old instructions. You are living the results of past mental commands, and you must issue a new, more powerful decree. I remind you of the tragic story of the bank official Joseph Grant. Grant was an honest man, but he became so obsessively focused on the fear of disgrace after a small, temporary financial setback that he literally worried himself to unconsciousness. His body was physically sound, but his mind, through the power of autosuggestion, translated his destructive thoughts into a physical reality, leading to his demise, a case of mental cessation. The subconscious mind translates destructive thoughts into physical reality as readily as it translates positive, wealth-building ones. The power of thought is absolute over the physical body and the material world. This is why your first job is not external, but internal. You must recognize that you are susceptible to the negative influences of others, and you must build an unshakable wall of immunity against them. You cannot afford to live in a negative environment, for the human mind, left to itself, will gravitate toward the dominating thoughts of its surroundings. The mind, like a sensitive instrument, absorbs the vibrations it is exposed to. Your environment is the silent programmer of your destiny. If you are serious about escaping the shame of delayed purpose, you must recognize that your thoughts are seeds. If you plant doubt, you will harvest failure. If you plant a definite chief aim, mixed with faith, and water it daily with repetition, the subconscious mind will find the path to its fulfillment. The principle of autosuggestion is the voluntary use of concentrated thought to instruct the subconscious. This is the key to reclaiming your time. The power of the subconscious mind to organize and execute plans is instantaneous once it has the clear command. You may have wasted 20 years, but the subconscious can, in 20 weeks, organize the necessary forces to reverse that tide, provided the command is given clearly, with emotion, and without contradiction. It is the shortest path between thought and its physical equivalent. Action steps: programming the subconscious for success. You must make the voluntary, conscious use of autosuggestion a non-negotiable part of your daily rhythm. First command: apply the self-confidence formula. Repeat the written formula aloud daily, concentrating for 30 minutes on thinking of the person you intend to become, creating a clear mental picture. This means closing your eyes, seeing the life you demand, and feeling the emotion of already possessing it. This demands persistent, continuous action toward your definite chief aim. This is how you reprogram the mind. The intensity of your focus charges the thought with power. Never allow this ritual to become a mechanical exercise. Infuse it with genuine felt emotion. Second command: build immunity to negativity. Protect yourself against susceptibility to negative influences, both from within your own mind and from outside sources. Recognize your willpower and use it constantly to build a wall of immunity against negative influences from your own mind or others. If a thought does not serve your definite aim, reject it instantly. Treat negative suggestions like a poison you refuse to ingest. Your willpower must serve as the gatekeeper of your consciousness. Third command, control your environment. Your daily associates constitute a most important and influential part of your environment. If your circle is toxic, if your friends or family are constantly negative, or who indulge in criticism and doubt, you must eliminate or minimize association with them. You are already fighting a war against lost time. You cannot afford to fight a war against your own allies. Seek out those who are successful, positive, and who speak of opportunity, not delay. The habit of association determines your mental outlook. Choose associates who will reinforce your ambition, not your excuses. Fourth command, master the three enemies. Before success can function, you must consciously and ruthlessly clear out indecision, doubt, and fear. These three negatives are the eliminators of success. They must be replaced immediately and persistently by constructive thoughts mixed with positive emotion. You must become the mental censor of your own mind. The mind that harbors these enemies cannot achieve freedom. These enemies are the mental baggage of your past, and they must be thrown overboard. The leverage point, mastermind and specialized power. If you fear starting late because you lack the money, specialized knowledge, or connections, the solution is immediate, organized power. The mastermind principle provides an instantaneous shortcut, allowing you to secure all the knowledge and influence you need to succeed quickly. You, the late starter, cannot afford the years it takes to acquire all the necessary specialized knowledge yourself. The fastest path to fortune is to organize the power of others to work toward your definite aim. Power is defined as organized and intelligently directed knowledge. Knowledge is worthless unless it is concentrated and applied toward a specific goal. This is where the majority of great fortunes have been made. No single man has ever possessed all the knowledge, resources, or connections needed to build an empire. Andrew Carnegie did not know how to run a steel mill. Henry Ford did not know how to invent every part of the assembly line. And Rockefeller did not personally manage every well. But they did one thing better than anyone else. They organized the power of other men's minds. The mastermind principle is essential for success in accumulating money, achieved through the harmonious coordination of two or more people working toward a definite end. This alliance closes the gap quickly for the late starter because it immediately provides you with the combined intellect, experience, and resources of everyone in your group. It is the economical way to acquire power. The friction of two or more minds, when working in perfect harmony, generates a third mind of superior intellectual power. Consider the example of Andrew Carnegie, who accumulated his huge fortune not by being the smartest man in the room, but by being the greatest organizer of smart men. He publicly admitted that he knew practically nothing about the technical end of the steel business. He organized a mastermind group of men, Schwab, Frick, and others who possessed the specialized knowledge he lacked. His power, and consequently his wealth, came not from his personal schooling, but from his organized knowledge, which he gathered through his alliance. He bought the best specialized brains he could find and coordinated them under his definite purpose. The man who fears he is too late because he lacks a degree or a skill is simply mistaking general knowledge for organized power. You do not need to possess all the knowledge in your own mind, but you must know how to secure it through your mastermind. The moment you form this alliance, you instantly leverage the decades of experience of others, effectively buying back the time you feel you have lost. Your mastermind is the bridge across the educational gap you fear. You must accept this truth. The mastermind is the single greatest leverage point for the man who starts late. Action steps. Building immediate power. You must move immediately to organize the necessary power to execute your definite aim. First command, form your mastermind alliance. Ally yourself with a group of people needed to execute your definite plan. These do not have to be men you pay. They can be mentors, colleagues, or partners whose definite aim complements yours. You must maintain perfect harmony with every member. Failure to do so guarantees failure. The power of the mastermind is rendered ineffective by disharmony, which acts like friction in a machine. Your primary responsibility to the group is the maintenance of this harmony. Second command, acquire specialized knowledge strategically. Recognize that general knowledge is useless for accumulating money. Identify the exact specialized knowledge your definite chief aim requires. Use your mastermind to access or acquire this knowledge quickly, overcoming the handicap of limited personal education. You must constantly study to keep pace with your industry. Knowledge is power only when it is organized and directed. Do not seek knowledge for its own sake, but only as a means to achieve your definite purpose. Third command, adopt the QQS standard for alliance. Guarantee the marketability and permanence of your service by adopting the quality, quantity, and spirit QQS formula as a habit. This is how you attract high-level minds into your alliance. You must consistently deliver the maximum quality and quantity of service in a proper spirit of cooperation. Remember, great minds will only ally themselves with men who operate at this uncompromising standard. Lead your alliance not through force, but by encouraging and demonstrating the proper spirit of cooperation, grounded in sympathy and understanding. Your adherence to the QQS model is the magnet that attracts competent allies. Fourth command, continuous self-improvement. Understand that stopping study because one has finished school dooms one to mediocrity. The way of success is the continuous pursuit of knowledge, organized and directed towards your definite aim. Your mind must be constantly growing to command a growing fortune. The education of the successful man is never finished. Never become so arrogant as to believe you know all there is to know about your chosen field. The man who feels isolated or behind because of his environment or education must understand that he can, in one prompt decision, create a new environment, a mastermind that is perfectly suited to his success. Your alliance will carry you past the point of indecision and into the realm of organized, permanent success. The 7 remaining principles of achievement, synthesis and final command. We have now established the foundation of all achievement: desire, faith, autosuggestion, decision, organized planning, persistence, and the mastermind. The man who has integrated these 7 principles is already on the road to commanding his own destiny, regardless of his age or past. But the final elements of my philosophy are required to ensure that your success is permanent and that your old environment and fears do not sabotage your new trajectory. These remaining principles, transmutation, the subconscious mind, the brain, the sixth sense, and the 6 basic fears, are the final tools you must master to achieve the final state of self-command. The power of energetic transmutation. The 10th principle. Many men fail to rise to great heights because they waste the energy of their strongest, most potent drives. Energetic transmutation is the process of channeling the powerful energy that is inherent in the primal urge, the most powerful of all human urges, into creative work, artistic expression, or, most importantly for you, the rapid accumulation of wealth. No great genius has ever been known to achieve greatness without possessing a highly developed energy source. The man who is behind the clock must learn to use this powerful energy to accelerate his thought, decision, and action. It is not about suppression, but about redirection. When this energy is transmuted into the creative power of the mind, it can generate an intensity of thought and purpose that accelerates all other principles. The sustained effort of a long climb demands this power. This redirection is the vital force that turns effort into genius. Action command, recognize the immense power of this energy. Immediately begin to consciously redirect the energy of your highest emotional drive away from mere physical expression and into the burning desire and persistence needed to execute your definite chief aim. This is the key to achieving a truly white-hot intensity of effort. Channel this primal intensity toward the creation of your organized plans. The subconscious mind, the 11th principle, the law of habit. We covered the importance of programming the subconscious through autosuggestion. but you must understand its nature as a force of habit. Your mind is the chemical laboratory of your destiny. Every thought you repeat, good or bad, is mixed with emotion and passed to the subconscious for execution. The late starter struggles because his subconscious mind is a storehouse of past negative habits, the habit of delay, the habit of doubt, the habit of associating with negative people. Cosmic habit force rewards only rhythm, not randomness. It reinforces whatever is repeated. You must now understand that your old destructive habits must be consciously replaced by constructive ones. This is the difference between temporary success and permanent fortune. The chain of habit is too light to be felt until it is too heavy to be broken. The subconscious mind delivers what you feed it with consistency, making repetition the master of all skills. Action command. Your success depends entirely upon the establishment of the habit of applying the 13 principles daily. Do not miss a single day of the twice daily ritual of faith, reading your DCA. Do not miss a single day of the distasteful task. Consciously choose the rhythm of success until the subconscious mind takes over and the new, powerful habits guide you automatically. Establish a fixed schedule for success and obey it ruthlessly. The brain, the 12th principle, the receiving and transmitting station. The brain is the only physical organ through which man can use his mind to communicate with others and through which he can receive thought. The master-mind alliance is made possible by this principle. Your brain is the receiving station for the ideas, plans, and knowledge that you secure through your harmonious alliance. The better the harmony, the clearer the transmission. The entire system of organized knowledge relies on the brain's ability to receive thought vibrations. This means that your brain is capable of receiving ideas that originate outside of your personal experience, supplied by the master mind. Action command. Actively use your brain as a receiving station. Schedule regular, definite meetings or calls, or chats with your mastermind group. Do not meet for coffee and chatter. Meet for the purpose of receiving and transmitting ideas related to your definite aim. Learn to recognize the sudden, powerful insights that arrive. These are the mental transmissions of your alliance, and you must act on them promptly. Treat these insights as direct instructions from the universal mind. The sixth sense, the 13th principle, the doorway to infinite intelligence. The sixth sense is the apex of philosophy, the point where the mind contacts infinite intelligence. This is the subtle, profound insight that comes not through study or reason, but through the perfect harmony of all the other 12 principles. It is the spontaneous idea, the sudden flash of genius, the hunch that proves correct. This is not for the beginner, but for the man who has relentlessly applied the principles of persistence and autosuggestion. It is the final level of self-mastery attained only through discipline. The sixth sense is the ability to tap into the reservoir of universal wisdom for answers to life's challenges. Action command. You cannot force the sixth sense, but you can prepare for it. Your preparation is the diligent, daily application of the other 12 principles. As you move with definite aim, unshakable faith, and constant persistence, your mind will become receptive, and the final piece of the plan will be given to you by a source greater than yourself. Master the basics, and the advanced powers will be granted to you. The 6 basic fears, the final barrier. The final barrier between you and your goal is not the lack of time, money, or opportunity. It is the paralysis of fear. Every form of procrastination, indecision, and weakness in persistence can be traced back to one or more of the 6 basic fears that afflict mankind. The fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, the fear of finality. For the late starter, the 2 most crippling are the fear of poverty, the worry that the money will run out before success arrives, and the fear of criticism, the anxiety over what others will say about the attempt, especially after previous delays. The fear of poverty manifests as a lack of definite chief aim and a constant aversion to risk, keeping you trapped in the safe routine. It makes you cling to a toxic environment because it feels secure. This fear is the root cause of the acceptance of mediocrity. The fear of criticism is the voice that whispers, "What if you try and fail again? What will your friends or family say after all this time?" This fear destroys the decision and persistence needed to move forward. These fears are responsible for your delayed life, paralyzing you with imagined threats. They are intangible, but their effects are devastatingly physical and material. Action command. You must immediately perform a self-analysis to determine which fears are paralyzing your will. Write down your dominant fear, and then, for every fear, write an antidote in the form of a definite command for constructive thought. The fear of poverty is conquered only by a definite plan acted upon with immediate decision. The fear of criticism is conquered only by building an impenetrable wall of immunity against negative thoughts. Do not merely identify the fears. Write the precise mental command that kills the fear at its root. The time for analysis, delay, and self-pity is finished. The man who is behind must run with an urgency and a focus that the man who started early never had to summon. The entire philosophy is a system for eliminating the mental chains of the past and commanding your own destiny in the present. I ask you now to reflect on this entire lesson. You are armed with the only principles of success that have ever worked for any man who built a fortune from scratch. In the comments below, share your age, your definite chief aim, and one action you will take now to conquer procrastination. The shame of the past is gone. The time you have lost is now your greatest source of fuel. If you have realized that your environment and past self-talk have been holding you back, and you want to ensure others who feel the same way find this message, please share this video with one person you know who feels stuck or behind in their life. Your action could be the definitive catalyst they need. You may feel late to the game, but I tell you this: the only true failure is the man who surrenders his will to the clock. You have been given the formula for the accumulation of wealth, not as a theory, but as an absolute law. Your time is short, but your potential is infinite. You are not too late. Start now. This channel walks with you.